Hey Dad, if I wanted to prepare a truck for something like ice road trucking or something else that might compare somewhat to it, what kind of stuff would I need to do to my truck?
Well, you'd have to either start out with a heavier duty truck or upgrade it. A good example of that would be some of the lighter duty trucks that I ran in Alaska. Most of mine were heavy spec with like 46,000 pound rears, but I did have, I had 11 trucks up there and 3 of them had 40,000 pound rears, but we had the Super 40s. And they oiled the pinion and all that. And so, you know, and they had lockers. So if you were going to try and go up to Alaska, the first thing you would have to do is address your drivetrain. You're going to want something like a transmission with hardened gears. You're going to want differentials with air lockers and all that kind of thing. And you want a heavier duty differential for sure. And that kind of extends to the across the board. I mean, you can't go up to Alaska and like run the haul road or something with a 435 engine. It doesn't have enough power to make it to the top of the hill in the wintertime. If you're loaded 96 or 113 or something like that, you'll never make it. So your engine has to be capable of that kind of horsepower. So if you had like a 435 Cummins or something, you'd have to go back in and you want to continue, you wanted to use the setup that you had, you would have to go back in and change the whole CPL, which you can do. We do them all the time here. Change the CPL to like a 605 high torque or something like that. That might involve changing, you know, gear, camshaft, piston crowns, and a couple other knickknacks to get you to be able to flash a 605 or whatever 600 high torque tune on it. Then you can do the job. You know, some trucks are just too light duty in general to do the job, but there, you know, there a lot of them that come to our shop that run Texas, you know, with the right things, could be heavy duty enough to do a job like that. You know, it's preferred, of course, to have a dual frame rail truck or something like that, but I certainly didn't have exclusively dual frame rail trucks. Most of them were, at least 2 of them were not. So, you know, and there are guys running up there that don't have that, you know, but there are different classes of trucks. You have heavy duty trucks, and you have light duty trucks, and you have medium duty trucks. You know, my Peterbilt, for example, just the shackle alone is twice the size of the first Peterbilt I bought in North Dakota. It was a much lighter duty truck, you know, and my front leaf spring on my Alaskan Peterbilt was a lot more heavy duty. So those things all factor in. My very first truck was a W900 that came from the lower 48, but it was a heavier duty one. It had Super 40s with air lockers and all that. But it you know, it wasn't dual frame rail. It did have a heavier front end, but it wasn't like heavy haul spec or anything like that. And I successfully hauled a lot of loads up north, so I took that one off the side of the mountain. So, you know, you're not gonna grab a Freightliner Columbia and go run the haul road with your Detroit 60 series, you know, something like that scenario. That truck would get tore apart, but never even make it. So, it just kind of depends on what you're working with. Yeah, you can build them up for sure. So, you know, but it isn't worth building up something like a Coronado. You know, you'd have to dump so much money into it, you'd never get it back out just so you can haul heavy loads. So you want to start with a good application first.